Right before you actually use Illustrator, one thing that is a good idea to do is set a couple of preferences. And preferences has to do with how your program's set up, how it behaves, how it looks, and other things. So we're going to look at a couple of basics. If you're on a PC, if you're on the Mac, you're going to go to Illustrator and Preferences. If you're on a PC, you're going to go to Edit, and then somewhere down in this menu there should be Preferences. If you can't find it either way, Command or Control K will open that up. So let's go to Preferences, General. Usually the only thing I adjust in here is Scaling, Stroke, and Effects. And basically what that does, let me show you what it does. If I scale, stroke, and effects, I'm going to leave that checked and hit OK. And I'm going to draw a square here. And let's see, let's set it to black and white. Let's see, did that do it? No. Okay, let's try this again. Set it to black and white. Okay, there we go. So I draw this square, and when I scale it, let's see, if I have it set to Scale, Stroke, and Effects, when I shrink this down, so I'm going to shrink it, notice that as I scale it down lower and lower, it still looks the same. All the proportions are correct. The thickness of the border stays visually the same. Now, I'm going to undo that a little bit. Let's take it to here. If I come back to my Preferences, General, and I uncheck that and then shrink it down, watch what happens. Then I'm going to zoom in and take a look at this. Notice that now when I look at it, this border looks a lot thicker because it hasn't scaled it. It's kept it at a 1-point stroke. And by keeping it at a 1-point stroke, when I zoom in really close or shrink it down really small and look at it, it's still a 1-point stroke, but visually it looks different because it's kept it at 1 point. If I do it the other way, let's drag this back up. So leave that on. Scale, Stroke, and Effects, and shrink it down. If I look up in my stroke size here, it's now at 0.132 in thickness. So sometimes that can work for you and sometimes that doesn't work for you. Usually when I use it, if I'm scaling something and I don't want it to stretch, then I go back into the Preferences and change that. If I do, then I change it. So that's important to look at. The other thing are your units and rulers. So let's go to there. Units and Display Performance. This is where you can set whether you're working in inches or whether you're working in the metric system. So it's up to you how you want your rulers to display. I have my rulers shown right now here at the top of the document and to the side. If you can't find your rulers, I'm going to leave that at Inches, View, Show Rulers right there, and that will show your rulers. And we'll look at using those a little later. But those are some basic preferences.